What's good, everyone? Welcome back to mission number 5 on Hoth. And the colonists Talia and Inquisitor Lord Verpa have returned back to Hoth to take the key, the lantern, away from the Necrons. This is the Necrons' final stand. But something strange has started happening. There are flashes of light all over the sector in this area, and it appears that the warp has started opening. So the Inquisitorial force has to move at speed, move quickly to get the artifact and get back to their ships so that they can get out of the system. But a huge Necron force is standing in their way, preventing them from getting the icon that they came here for. Each turn, the risk of a warp rift opening on in this sector is the probability just continues to grow. Each turn I'm gonna be rolling. It's a special rule that we have. From the events on Vesper Prime, the 8th sacrifice took place, allowing warp rifts to move around on the planet. So I'm going to be rolling 3d6 and moving a blast marker around. And on a roll of a 1, a warp rift occurs, and Hrathgar's hordes pour out from that point, kind of like the dark Eldar webway portal, but more randomized. Stand by, turn 1 coming up. All right, we're back. That was the end of turn number 1. The snipers here moved up. The rest of the Inquisitorial force, as you guys can see, all moved forward. In the Necron's turn, same thing. The Necron force just simply moved forward. In the shooting phase, the snipers here fired over on the destroyers, destroying all 3 destroyers. And in the Necron shooting phase, the heavy destroyers killed these 3 snipers, and the destroyers over here in the corner killed these 6 guardsmen. The warp just flickered into existence and phased out. Just red lights flickering everywhere. It moved over. The blast markers representing the warp. The warp rift. It did not open this turn. Remember, the warp rift it'll fluctuate. It'll jump all over the board. But on a roll of a 1, it'll actually, wherever it is, it'll actually open up. So it'll keep moving until it eventually opens up, and then the forces of chaos will start pouring through. Turn 2 coming up. Okay, well, that was the end of turn number 2. And basically what happens is at the beginning of each turn, the warp rift that's trying to open moves 3d6 in any direction on the scatter die. And then I roll a d6 afterwards, and on a roll of a 1, the rift actually opens up. But when the rift is kind of like flickering into reality, if it touches a model, that model immediately has to take an armor save. And if that model fails its armor save, it gets zapped by the energy of the warp that's like coming through. And this time around, the warp rift moved over another 6 inches that way. Strange that it keeps going that way. And one of the destroyers over there actually got touched by it when it was flickering into space. He made his armor save, and then it just kind of phased out and just went away. Over here, during the sisters' turn, they basically moved up, and they didn't really have anything in range. The heavy bolters over here shot at the destroyers back this way, but they did nothing. The last cannon that you see here on the heavy weapon teams here, and the mortar fired over at the heavy destroyers, and they did nothing. During the Necron turn, the Scarabs all moved up and they're closing in. The Kinetic Spider moved up. All of the Warriors moved up. The Heavy Destroyers stayed put. Everything else, the Wraiths and so forth, moved up. The Destroyers on this side has just been spot on in this mission. They killed 6 Inquisitorial Guardsmen over there, and the Heavy Destroyers killed 2 Sisters here. And the Sisters did an act of faith, and they got the they got the 3 up. Their armor save is became an invulnerable save, and they still failed. Still died to the Heavy Destroyers. So that is the end of turn 2. The lantern is here in the center of the table, and both factions are fighting for control of the lantern. The one who ends up in control of the lantern at the end of 6 turns will win the game. Turn 3 coming up. Alright, and we're back. That's the end of turn 3. And this turn went to Canoness Talia and the Inquisitor. So basically what happened was the Inquisitorial force all moved up. Everybody made moves. The heavy weapons team back here with the last cannon fired over on the kinetic spider with the last cannon wounding it once. It was also hit by a mortar shell, just bounced off its armor. The Sisters here moved up and tried to make some tactical maneuvers, but misjudged the range. The Scarabs then assaulted them. During the shooting phase, though, they did pretty well. Between Talia's unit, the Inquisitorial Guard unit here, and the Sisters that were standing here, they killed 4 bases, denying those bases the ability to charge during their turn. And then over here, very interesting, the Inquisitorial Guard unit here fired and killed 2 Wraiths. Can you believe it? Both Wraiths failed their 3-up invulnerable save. That was a big blow, I think. Big win for the Guard. The one lone Wraith now on his way. Once again, the Destroyers are just never cease to amaze me. They killed one of the Retribution squad. One model there. In the Necron's turn, basically everybody just kind of moved up. Necron warriors here all fired in, killing some of the Sisters. These Sisters were already dead prior to the Scarabs charging. And the warriors over here on this side all fired in on the Guardsmen, killing 3 of the Guardsmen. So that's the end of turn 3. We're going to get into turn 4 now. Turn 4 coming up. And the Emperor is smiling down on the Inquisitorial Guard squad. You guys are not going to believe this. You're just absolutely not going to believe it. Inquisitor Vesper calls on her Inquisitorial Guard to fire on the wretched Necron Lord. The Necron Lord and his horde. And this guard unit here that you see decimated, rapid fired. All it had on the Necron Lord, with the help of the Canoness's unit and the snipers here. The snipers caused 1 wound. These guys caused 5 with their flashlights. And the Necron Lord, I can't even believe that I rolled 3 ones and they brought the Necron Lord down. So Inquisitor Vesper definitely was smiling. The rest of the unit fired in and hit the warriors over here, other Inquisitorial Guard unit, Took down 4 warriors, but 2 of them fixed themselves and got back up. The Wraith that you saw over here, the single Wraith, came over and assaulted the guard, and to my disbelief, he assaulted the guard and completely missed them in the ensuing combat. Can't believe such horrible rolling on my part this last turn, and rolling to hit, only needing 3s to hit guardsmen, and I can't believe I rolled 4 2s. And then the guardsmen got their opportunity to turn their guns upside down and swing back, and 5 6s I rolled, and the Wraith failed his armor saves, a regular 3-up armor save. He failed, and can you believe it? The Inquisitorial Guard and their sergeant survived what should have been an onslaught and killed the Wraith, standing proud. The destroyers over here doing their turn fired in and decimated the rest of the unit. What was left in the ensuing turn, only leaving 4 of these guys. The warriors over here came in with their silent advance, and they rapid fired on the rest of the guard unit, decimating the rest of it, leaving only 4 guys. But the Inquisitor Vesper standing behind, watching her guardsmen get destroyed, but smiling proudly as they took down the Necron Lord. And she now sees the lantern in her sights. But guys, look at Canoness Talia standing behind the Inquisitor, just watching as the Inquisitor is looking towards the lantern, and she knows what she has to do to stop the Inquisitor from getting her hands on it. At the beginning of the turn, the Warp Rift moved again, red flashing energy arcing all over the place, but then it faded away again, which makes the Inquisitor very happy. A, that the Warp Rift is not occurring on her side, and B, that it is just not opening up. Turn number 5 coming up. Stand by.